Join me as I dive into the craziest urban planning disasters in Southeast Asia and see if I can pinpoint the absolute worst one. These are the stories that make you wonder, what were they thinking? From traffic jams that feel endless to sinking cities, it's urban planning gone horribly wrong. Urban planning is the art and science of designing cities to be livable, efficient, and sustainable. It involves everything from transportation systems to zoning laws, green spaces, and housing developments. When done well, it creates harmony between people and their environment. But when it fails, it can plunge cities into chaos, creating problems that linger for decades. Southeast Asia, home to some of the most vibrant and rapidly growing cities in the world, has seen its fair share of urban planning disasters. Today, we're peeling back the layers on the most infamous examples: traffic-clogged streets, crumbling infrastructure, and policies that fail to keep pace with urban growth. Get ready for a jaw-dropping journey through the region's urban planning nightmares. Southeast Asia's cities are booming, with urban populations growing by more than 70 million people over the last 2 decades. But rapid growth brings unique challenges. Many cities in this region face unplanned urban sprawl, fueled by high rural-to-urban migration and a lack of coherent planning strategies. This has led to haphazard infrastructure development, chaotic land use, and insufficient public services. One of the biggest challenges is traffic congestion. Cities like Manila and Jakarta are infamous for their gridlock, where peak-hour traffic feels like a constant state of paralysis. Over-reliance on private vehicles and underinvestment in public transit are common culprits. Another key issue is environmental vulnerability. Many of these cities are coastal and face rising sea levels, monsoonal floods, and poor waste management. Jakarta's situation, for example, has become so dire that the government is relocating the capital. Inequality is another challenge. Poorer neighborhoods often lack access to adequate transportation, clean water, and sanitation. This leaves millions trapped in poverty while wealthier areas thrive, creating stark contrasts within the same city. Let's explore some of Southeast Asia's worst urban planning disasters in detail. Manila's traffic congestion is often ranked among the worst in the world. Commuters here lose an average of 257 hours a year stuck in traffic, according to the Asian Development Bank. The root cause lies in a history of car-centric urban planning, where investment in roads vastly outpaced investment in public transit. The city's public transportation system is also notoriously unreliable. The Metro Rail Transit (MRT) key commuter rail line is plagued by overcrowding, frequent breakdowns, and insufficient capacity. Meanwhile, the jeepneys, once a cultural symbol, are aging and inefficient. Manila's failure to integrate these systems has only worsened the chaos. Jakarta's sinking streets are both a symptom and a symbol of poor urban planning. 40% of the city is below sea level, and it sinks by about 25 centimeters per year in some areas. The primary culprit? Excessive groundwater extraction, as much of the city lacks piped water infrastructure. This has left Jakarta vulnerable to floods that regularly displace thousands and damage infrastructure. Despite the introduction of the Trans-Jakarta Bus Rapid Transit System, traffic remains a major issue. With 13 million people commuting daily, the lack of an integrated, multimodal transport network leaves most residents relying on private vehicles. Bangkok presents a mixed bag of planning successes and failures. The BTS SkyTrain and MRT subway are efficient, but they only serve certain parts of the sprawling city. Most Bangkokians still rely on cars, motorcycles, and informal transport modes like tuk-tuks, contributing to gridlock. Pedestrian infrastructure is equally problematic, with narrow sidewalks that are often blocked by vendors or parked motorcycles. Rapid urbanization has transformed Ho Chi Minh City, but poor zoning has resulted in chaotic development. Flooding is a constant issue due to poorly designed drainage systems and widespread paving of natural floodplains. Despite the city's attempts to modernize, its nascent metro system has faced significant delays and cost overruns. Kuala Lumpur's urban sprawl has created vast, car-dependent suburbs, while the city center struggles with underused public spaces. The Mass Rapid Transit (MRT) system is a step forward, but first and last-mile connectivity remains a challenge. Meanwhile, poorly maintained drainage systems contribute to frequent flash floods. If there's one disaster that truly captures the consequences of poor urban planning, it's Jakarta's sinking neighborhoods. Imagine waking up to find your street submerged in knee-deep water, not once a year, but multiple times every rainy season. Residents of Pluit, one of Jakarta's hardest-hit districts, have been forced to build makeshift walls around their homes to hold back floodwaters. This disaster isn't just a local issue, it's a national crisis. The environmental toll includes the destruction of mangrove forests, which once protected Jakarta's coastline. The economic cost is staggering, with annual flood damages running into billions of dollars. And the social cost? Entire communities are being uprooted, with no clear solution in sight. Jakarta's story serves as a cautionary tale for other cities in the region. Without sustainable urban planning, the combination of rapid growth, environmental challenges, and aging infrastructure can create disasters that are almost impossible to reverse. Urban planning disasters are more than just stories of failure, they're lessons in what happens when we prioritize short-term gains over long-term sustainability. From Manila's traffic nightmares to Jakarta's sinking streets, Southeast Asia's cities have shown us the cost of ignoring integrated, forward-thinking planning. But all is not lost. Cities like Singapore and Hanoi are proving that with the right investments and policies, it's possible to turn things around. Sustainable transport, better zoning laws, and climate-resilient infrastructure can help create urban spaces that work for everyone.